Closing remarks. Initially, I did not want to write my life story for anyone to know about. Many of my students implored me to do so, and I refused them many times. But I did tell some parts of it, and many people wanted to know more. They asked me to write it down so that future generations would have the opportunity to know about it. Why didn't I want to write about my story? Because I realized how the events that transpired in my life are different from other people's lives. Even having been born of the same parents, I possessed a character unlike anyone, as you have already read about. When I first wrote my life story, I only wrote about some parts of it, so it wasn't that complete. I wrote about more this time, but did not write about my young adult years. If I had, people would say that I was painting an idealistic picture of myself. Consequently, I have only written about my childhood and years as a monk. Many people have said that my life story is unlike that of others, as you have already read. My story can be a double-edged sword, depending on the person who interprets it. If someone already respects me, they will think in a beneficial manner. If someone does not respect me, they may think in a detrimental manner. It will be along these lines. This is a normal matter. Whoever is born into this world encounters criticism and praise. They are a pair. Even the Buddha was slandered and praised by others. I have added new material and additional methods, ubaya, of practice to this new version of my autobiography in order to provide thinking material for those who read the various Dhamma methods. Most of the Dhamma methods emphasize the basis of mindfulness, sati, and wisdom, paññā. This is because I have read the Buddha's history, starting from the very beginning through the cessation of the aggregates, khandha, in enlightenment, nibbana. I have also read the historical accounts related to the period in which the Buddha taught the Buddhist religion, about how he started propagating the Dhamma and what Dhamma topics were used as the core foundation. Starting with the 5 ascetics, Pañcavakkiya, the Buddha used the foundation of wisdom, paññā, of right views, as the starting point. It was a method, ubaya, for people to change their mindset from wrong views back to right views. This was the starting point for the teaching of the Buddhist religion. People originally have miccha titi, or wrong views, which have caused the perpetual cycling through rebirth in this world. That is why the Buddha chose reason as his method, such that the masses accepted the truth, saw the truth according to the teachings of the Buddha, and changed their minds to that which is called samma titi, wisdom of views that are correct and righteous. This led the 5 ascetics, Pañcavakkiya, to attain enlightenment as the first group of noble disciples, Arya Savaka. Then there was Venerable Yasa's retinue, as well as his father and mother, the auspicious group of 30 men, Patavakkiya, who were looking for a courtesan, and the 3 matted hair ascetic Jatila brothers and their retinue of 1,000, and many other groups. There were numerous people, both monastics and lay people, who attained enlightenment and became noble ones, Ariyapukkala. I'd like those practicing in this era to study the histories of those who had attained enlightenment during the Buddha's time and discern how they differ from you all. Those Ariyapukkalas were initially just ordinary commoners, putucana. After they had listened to the Dhamma from the Buddha, how did they practice? In the beginning, how did the Buddha start teaching them? I'd like for you all to read the histories of the Ariyapukkalas who were lay people like you, so that you have human proof to use in deciding in this day and age. Practitioners don't understand the methods of training wisdom. These are my observations about why people don't want to train in wisdom. There are 2 observations. The first is having knowledge from manuals and not bothering to waste time on contemplations, or in other words, already knowing. They intend to use that textbook knowledge as wisdom. They don't want to contemplate any universal truths, such as Dhamma, because they already understand the Dhamma from the texts. In actuality, that's not true. That knowledge is mere memorized textbook knowledge. It is just theoretical principles. It is like learning how to cook food and knowing that this food contains these seasonings. Merely knowing this, you believe yourself to already know how to make food to eat, or you know cooking techniques. Though you do know the seasonings, you have never actually seasoned the food before. When you actually do it, who knows how the food will end up tasting? Similarly, if you have never applied that learned knowledge toward wisdom, when you actually use it, who knows whether it will be wisdom or memory, sanya, of the text? Wisdom is not knowledge. Knowledge is not wisdom. Whenever knowledge is made out to be wisdom, that will be the immediate end for real wisdom. All that will remain is knowledge to show off to one another. This is an observation about how knowledge turns off your wisdom without your realizing it. The second observation is that practitioners believe that once you meditate, samadhi, to a calm state, wisdom will arise. This kind of belief is a contradictory belief. Back when the Buddha had practiced fervently with the two hermits, tapasa, our Buddha had meditated and his mind had achieved an utmost state of calm. Why didn't the Buddha's wisdom arise then? What kind of meditation is our meditation? Is it superior to the Buddha's? As for the statement that meditating until the mind attains a calm state will cause wisdom to arise, during the Buddha's time, to whom did he teach this? Who is the example who can serve as human proof? The concentration, samadhi, that the Buddha taught was divided into two groupings. One, steadfastly focused concentration, samadhi, and two, calm concentration, samadhi. The Buddha taught both of these types of concentration, samadhi, to two types of people. The Buddha taught steadfastly focused concentration to the deliverance through wisdom, paññā vimutti type. The Buddha taught calm concentration to those of the deliverance of mind, ceto vimutti type. Now, exactly which type of personality are you? Why are you all using only calm meditation and saying that once the mind attains a calm state, wisdom will arise? Do you know that serene meditation is concentration, samadhi, that shuts off wisdom? The manuals already very clearly explain that if the mind requires meditative serenity, to leave the mind to continue to meditate to serenity until the mind is fully replete in serenity. Once the mind is fully replete in serenity, the mind will withdraw from that serenity. Be mindful not to withdraw completely. Remain in upachara samadhi, or that which is referred to as steadfastly focused concentration, and direct it toward wisdom, paññā. These are the principles that the Buddha taught. Right now, people do not understand according to the original methods that the Buddha taught. As a result, they have unwittingly developed miccha samadhi, or wrong views about serenity. What kind of concentration, samadhi, is this? They are all touted as the Buddha's concentration, samadhi. This engenders wrong understanding and wrong views in those who lack education. The Dhamma that is being taught in this era is the same way. All of it is purported to be the Buddha's teachings. The Buddha possessed insight, jnana, called anakatangsayana, and knew that those who will destroy the teachings of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and cause its ruin will be none other than the Buddhist community, Puttha Parisa, themselves. That is why the Buddha taught a discourse called the Kalama Sutta, which contains 10 criteria as follows. In the Kalama Sutta, the Buddha warns Buddhists not to believe things that stray from reason. That reason must be the supremacy of the rule of Dhamma, Dhammatipataya, which uses the truth of universal truths, Satya Dhamma, as its foundation. Do not believe everything that people say. Whatever people believed in the old days, that is what people continue to believe. They refuse to question it with reason at all. The Buddha warned Buddhists not to train oneself to be one who believes in things that lack reason, and not to train oneself to be one who is credulous. As a practitioner, one must train oneself to be steadfast. The term foundation refers to stability and steadfastness. Do not believe in that which is credulous, nonsensical, or in rumors.